Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 11. My name is Jason Opalding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC, alongside Scott Ferrioli,
owner of DVC-Rental.com and buyandsell.dvc.com.
And today would be the 11th month mark for March 21st, 2022. The 7-month mark is 11/21/21. So again, remember, if you're looking to make a reservation, if you can get it between the 7 to 11 month mark, you're going to have a better chance of getting the resort you want. If you have points put up for rent, try to get them to DVC-Rental between the 7 and 11 month period.
Because at the 11-month mark right now, you still got spring break going on, and at 7 months, you're now going to be hitting Thanksgiving season. So definitely do it as quickly as possible.
And today we're going to talk about Aulani. So of course, Aulani is in Hawaii. And just to give you some basics on Aulani, they have studios, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. The resort expires 2062. The dues there are $835 a point for the regular Aulani contracts. Now, there is a subsidized Aulani contracts. There are subsidized Aulani contracts out there, and the dues on those are $6.28 per point. And if you see an Aulani subsidized contract, it stays subsidized. So if someone has it, they bought it, and then they go to resell it, and you buy it, and it's subsidized, it continues to be subsidized throughout the life of that property.
Yeah, there's not a lot of those. So if you can find a subsidized contract, to save essentially $2 per point, you want to grab that as quickly as you can because they do go quickly.
And then direct resale price for Aulani is currently $201 per point. And on the resale side, generally, the prices vary between $100 to $110 per point. The subsidized ones will sell a little bit higher than the normal contracts. And I'm going to let Scott talk about Aulani from the resale side. From the rental side.
Right, yep. On the rental side, Aulani does not get, I'll say, a huge demand as a DVC member. Definitely get it to us more than 7 months out whenever you can, and that's basic rule for anything, because we could possibly use them because Aulani doesn't get a huge demand. I will say that for the past probably 3 to 4 weeks, we've probably had some of the most Aulani reservations come in that we've ever had. Like I think this year, again, it's only April right now. We've probably done more Aulani reservations than we had all of last year combined, and possibly even the previous year. There have been a lot of Hawaii reservations coming in. Don't really know why, but they're all for last minute. Like people adding on a couple nights here and there, but a lot of last minute Aulani reservations coming in.
And then, what are some of the favorite views there or room requests?
Well, the first one to sell out, they also have a hotel room. It's just a regular basic hotel room, so not the studio, the regular DVC studios. The hotel rooms, the least amount of points, always sells out first. Then the standard views, the next one to go. You also have island gardens, and then you have an island pool view, and the last one is the ocean view. The ocean view, obviously, you're overlooking the ocean. It's the last one to sell out just because it is more points, and a lot of times renters and DVC members are trying to save as many points as they can, so they always go with the least expensive options. But it's the only resort that I personally have not stayed at before, but I've seen the views from the ocean view rooms. It's absolutely gorgeous in Hawaii.
And you were mentioning on the rental side, the summertime is the hardest to get into.
Yep, I was mentioning earlier to Jason that a lot of times we'll say off season doesn't get a huge demand. So you can get it sometimes a couple months in advance. But during the summer, I'll say, May through August, you're definitely going to want to get your reservations in 11 months in advance because they do sell out really fast. The rest of the year, not a huge demand, and you might be able to score it, a couple months in advance or even maybe a couple weeks in advance if you're flexible with what you take. But during the summer months, very, very hard to get. It's in prime demand.
Now on the resale side, I typically run into people that are looking to go to Aulani for Christmas and New Year's. So on the resale side, they always seem to be looking for, that December use year because they want to use it, over Christmas, New Year's, the beginning of January. So if you do vacation at Aulani, and, please leave in the comments, like when you prefer to travel, when you feel is the best time to go there. based on either the perfect weather or it's not as busy or whatever the case may be.
And I have seen that they've got the Jurassic Park ATV tours, and I would love to take one of those because I love Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, the whole series, and to be able to drive through like the rainforest and a lot of the filming that they did for both movies, well, both series, I should say, is shot on Oahu, which is where Aulani is. And they've got stuff, they've got dinosaurs set up there, and they've got different scenes from the movies, and they like can superimpose like a dinosaur chasing you and stuff. But I mean, to ride an ATV, which is always really cool anyway, but to drive it around like where they did the filming for Jurassic Park and Jurassic World would be a really, really fun option.
And so now we're going to go into, unless you have anything you want to add to Aulani?
If I think of anything, I'll definitely let us know later on. Because as of right now, I can't think of anything at the moment. The airport that you fly into is the Honolulu International Airport, and it's probably about a 30-minute ride from the airport to the resort. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything else we missed right now. But
one thing I do want to mention in regards to renting, Aulani is a little bit different than any other DVC resort because they have the transient tax.
yes.
So if you want to explain that, so someone looking to rent.
So all of Hawaii has something called a transient tax. It's the only resorts that on Disney property that have that. Essentially, when you get to the resort, they charge you an additional fee. It's not a lot of money. I mean, studios are typically like around $2 per night, and it could go up to like $10 or $15 per night when you get some of the bigger rooms. But it is called the Hawaii transient tax. It's imposed by the government, and it's collected at check-in at the hotel. So it is something that you would have to pay for on your own, but it's not a huge fee, especially when you're going to Hawaii. Throwing in $3 a night for Hawaii's tax, not really a huge deal.
So now we're going to go into our food review, and for this food review, we actually had a guest with us, and I actually participated in the food review as well. This was someone that had bought his name is King, and he had bought a 50-point property from me at Wilderness Lodge, Boulder Ridge, I believe in 2007. And, in the video, I mean, just to give you an idea, like he mentions that I believe he's only stayed at Boulder Ridge twice, but he does like to secure the reservation for Boulder Ridge between 7 and 11 months. And then once it gets under 7 months, then he looks to see what is open, switches it to that resort, and then, cancels the reservation. So, it was interesting to not only to be in part of the food review, but to listen to how he uses the membership and, the different resorts he's been able to see, over his time that he's been using the points since 2007.
I mean, that's a smart way to do it too. Book your home resort at the 11-month window. That way, you're locked into something that you have. And then once you get to 7 months, see if you could switch it around to, whatever you want. But at least, worst case scenario, you're staying at your home resort. So it's definitely safer to do it that way. And that's the smart way to do it.
And I believe he was here this time for his 50th birthday.
Correct. Yep. It's King's 50th birthday. So happy 50th, King.
Hopefully everything went well for his birthday week. So enjoy this clip of us on the food review.
Yep. We are at Disney Springs, and we went to Vivoli Il Gelato. So it's a gelato store right by Boathouse. So check out the video.
I do want to just add real quick that it was quite the serving, and they really didn't have a good knife to cut it into fours. Apparently, now, this was the perfect thing to share. King said he could have had his own, but...
Yeah, it was big, and again, we sat there. King was trying to cut it with a little plastic knife that they give you. We could have used something a little more sturdy, and we asked if they happened to have anything that they could cut it, and they couldn't. Because there were 4 of us, so we're trying to cut it in fourths, but... There was some struggling, and it fought us a little bit, and you'll see in the video.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
Hey, we're with our buddy King. We're doing a first video food of the week by Jason. My wife Shannon is here, and we have the red velvet cheesecake. It's the red velvet gelato sandwich between 2 red velvet cookies. We are at Disney Springs right now at Vivel Gelato.
I just want to say, King purchased a resale property from myself in 2007.
2007, yes. Fantastic. You buy from buy and sell DVC, Jason is the man.
And I just want to mention, he owns at Boulder Ridge. Of course, when he bought it, it probably was just bills at the Wilderness Lodge.
Yes.
Boulder Ridge. He mentioned he only stayed at
I've only
Wilderness.
stayed there twice.
So again, you can bounce around with your membership. He does live in Miami, so he makes reservations probably less than 7 months the majority of the time.
No, I'm actually a planner. I do the 11-month. I usually will book Boulder Ridge first, and then if the 7-month window opens up, I will get wherever it is that we haven't stayed at that's available. I jump on it, and the only places we have not stayed at yet is Villas at Grand Floridian, and then of course Riviera, since that's so new.
Oh, very nice. So now we're gonna cut this in quarters, and we're gonna try this out. We're gonna try to cut it in quarters. It's
gonna
like
be
frozen ice cream. We have this little plastic knife. Oh, this is gonna be ugly.
Of course, because they did not trust the 3 large guys that walked into the place.
They don't give the staff here large knives. They don't.
See, this is why we don't have guests on. They butcher the food reviews.
You know what? I'm gonna kill this. Come on, you.
See, luckily I could just say these things and hold the camera, and because I would be butchering it just as badly. It looks good.
Just as you can see, if you are a guest that's part of the food review, we do make you do all of the work.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly. You want to be on the show, be part of the food review? That's okay. You're working for it though. You're doing the cutting.
One, it's really.
This is a big sandwich. I mean, we've had the strawberry shortcake sandwich at Dino Bites at Animal Kingdom recently, and this one's a lot larger. But that sandwich is
for
like
safety reasons. We were not allowed to bring our own knife either. So
yeah, they wouldn't let us bring a knife in to cut this. But this was like $11 for the sandwich. They do offer an annual pass or DVC discount, like 10% off. Oh, this is just getting butchered. Oh, this is ugly. Yeah, whatever. Just grab a bite, cut it, whatever. Just use a fork, knife. Now, again, all this goes with a grain of salt because these guys can't be trusted with their ratings. They've never rated anything before. It's always been me.
this is the king.
And this is the king, so it's in his name.
That's right.
In the YouTube page, he's King O Miami.
That's
Is
right.
there a number at the end, or is it just King O Miami?
It's King O Miami.
King O Miami.
Okay, we got
Good bite. There we go. Oh, yeah.
pieces there.
See, we're 3 minutes in and we haven't finished cutting it yet.
Remember, it is partly frozen from the.
Yeah, it's frozen from the ice cream. It's made the cookie hard to cut, and it's a mess, but I don't care. As long as it tastes good.
And you know what? It's going to be just as delicious.
Yeah.
Either way.
So again, good amount more expensive than the one at Dino Bites, but it is larger. So.
Oh, the
We'll
birds
see.
are checking it out.
Uh-oh. He's leaving.
Okay.
Bird was just scoping us.
So-
Crackers.
We will give the lady.
I'll take just a small bite.
That's the tiniest bite ever. All right, dig in, guys. Make sure you get some cookie in there, not just the gelato.
That's very good.
And I have no shame.
I was just going to say
So-
bite into it. Yeah.
May I have a napkin so when
Don't need a
it
napkin.
slobbers all over my goofy football jersey, I'm okay.
Yes, Pat's gonna want to.
Let all of our users laugh. And first impression so far? Jason hasn't taken a bite yet. Good?
It's phenomenal.
Really?
It's
Good.
absolutely phenomenal. The cookie, it's crisp. It's not too hard, even though of course the really cheap plastic knife belies it, but it's still good enough to bite through. The ice cream or gelato is phenomenal. Very, very sweet. Not too sweet, but just nice, especially now since it seems to have warmed up after being rather chilly this morning. This is actually perfect for the temperature right now.
Here we go.
Yeah. I like the different kinds of chocolate. It's got white chocolate and maybe
I like it.
milk or
Like it
dark.
too?
I can't tell. Good.
You know, I mostly had cookie on mine. Somehow the ice cream has like melted. It's mostly just cookie left. But the cookie's really, really good as well. All right, so Jason, since you're a professional and you've watched me do this a bunch of times, what's the score? 1 to 10.
I'm
We've been
gonna
over
try
for
not
long.
to give a rookie score here.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say it's an 8.1.
Ooh.
It's up there.
All right.
I would give it a definite 8.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
7.8. It's really good. It's delicious.
It's pretty darn good.
Chocolate.
All the ice cream all the gelato is gone right
I don't
now.
think one person though could handle this on their own without maybe
No, this is multiple people.
Definitely sharing.
getting a little sick. Or,
He's like, I got this.
Unless you love to eat like I do. This is an appetizer before going to lunch. So
But
this-
she is heading
this
to Raglan Road
fantastic.
afterwards, so he's a professional. Don't try it at home, kids. I thought it was very good as well. I hate to say this, I'm going 8.12. I don't want to.
man.
You guys are on point.
Where was
8.1.
this in relation to the donuts?
This was a little below the donuts because I think the donuts were the best donuts I've ever had at Everglazed. This is pretty solid though. And we've already gone 6.5 minutes, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So back to our originally scheduled program.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that food review. And now we're going to move on to, we're just going to mention a little bit, reasons for selling, especially on the resale side. You have buyers, and of course, typically a buyer is, they get exposed to Disney Vacation Club through a variety of ways. Maybe they've rented from DVC-Rental, and then they come down and they say, well, what is this all about? Is this something that we should be doing? Are we going to be coming back here? Or you have a friend, you're in Illinois and you're like, I'm looking to go to Disney World, and they're like, oh, I'm a Disney Vacation Club member. Or you're here on site, staying, and you've rented a room at Port Orleans, and you see all the Disney Vacation Club buses. You get exposed to it, and then you start learning about DVC, and then you discover that there's a resale market. So sometimes buyers who just get exposed to DVC, they're kind of like, they're peeking over the fence, and they're like, well, why are there people selling? If this is so wonderful, why would there be a resale market? Why doesn't everyone keep this forever? So I was just going to mention, a few reasons why people are selling. It just so happens that yesterday we had an owner come to us, and he had 3 different properties at Bay Lake Tower. He's owned those properties since 2009, and he's looking to sell his properties. And the reason is when he bought the properties, his children were still in school. His children are now out of school. His children no longer have as much interest in coming to Disney World. They want to explore other options. And now they've bought a vacation home. So he has simply just changed his vacation habits, no longer needs a DVC, selling his DVC, and then moving on to enjoying the vacation home. And then you run into scenarios where, unfortunately, there's sometimes where you have people that are getting divorced. They need to sell for that reason. You do get people that buy a resort, use it for 5 to 7 years, stay at a different resort. Now they fall in love with that resort, would rather have the 7 to 11 months at that resort. They go to sell that property, and then, in their minds, they're doing an upgrade for their preferences. So I just wanted to mention, because I've been helping people resell and buy Disney Vacation Club since 2004. And you just don't run into a scenario of someone's selling it because they don't like it. They like it, they use it, something has changed. And again, sometimes, people, another reason is sometimes just, people relocate and they're in a new area. It's, coming to Walt Disney World, it's not going to work out for them. And then, they need to sell the property. And really, when you're going to buy DVC, especially if you're buying resale, if you buy into Disney Vacation Club on the resale market and you use it for 5 years, and then something happens and you're like, well, we want to now do this or this, you have the avenue to resell your property. And you're probably going to sell it, if you bought it resale, you're most likely going to sell it for more than what you paid for it, if not the same. Now, if you buy directly from Disney, of course, it's going to be a little bit different, because when you bought in, you paid more per point than you would have if you would have bought resale. But, I just wanted to mention it because, again, sometimes you have those, everybody has their own hobbies and things like that. So, it's like sometimes, let's say your hobby is boating, well, and you go to look at a used boat. Well, of course, you don't want to, there's a lot of, like, is this boat going to sink? Is this boat have rust? Is this boat been in salt water?
Are the people living on the boat like last time?
But the one thing about buying a DVC resale is there's not going to be anything wrong with the property. Yeah. This guy owns, we're talking about Aulani today. If this guy owns 200 points at Aulani and it's a December use year, that's exactly what you're going to get. You don't have to worry, did this person take care of the boat? Did this person take care of the house? Like
what's
you're buying.
falling apart? What's all the issues that you have in a real estate purchase?
So, that's another great thing about buying. You don't have to worry about those things, like like when you buy a house, there's so many things you have to worry about that when you buy a resale, you just don't have to worry about those things. And Disney's involved in every transaction. So if you're buying a property that says, there's 200 banked points plus 200 points, it's got to go to Disney, and you can't just make up that clause. If that's not correct, Disney will stop it right there and say, well, this isn't correct. You have to send an addendum. So on the resale side, you don't have really, there's nothing to worry about when you buy a resale. What you see is exactly what you're going to get. So, some people do ask, what's this person's reason for selling? And not all sellers tell us, why they're selling. But it's,
exactly as you said, it's not like you're buying a house and you're going, why is he selling it? Does he know something I don't know? Is the foundation cracked? Is there a big problem? Is there something coming down the pipeline that I know I'm going to get hit with? The roof's going to go in 3 years. There's nothing like that at all. So there's reasons why people sell, but really it doesn't affect anything because you're getting locked in on Disney property, and for some reason, if a resort ever had some damage, they fix it. It's you don't have to do anything. It's pretty basic.
And then just to mention on the DVC-rental side, someone says, why is this person renting out their points? We have to understand there's I believe the number's over 300,000 DVC members. So you have all sorts of different scenarios where, this family, all of a sudden their son is playing travel baseball and they normally go in the summer, but, this year there's going to be some big tournament's going to go on for 6 weeks. They can't go. So then they contact DVC-Rental, put their points up for rent, get them rented out. There's you have a bunch of different reasons why people are renting out their points. So that's why, you got people selling and renting out their points.
I don't have anything to add to that part. I was right on the money.
So I think that pretty much wraps up episode 11. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Oh, I do want to mention, so if you enjoyed the food review and maybe you want to participate in a food review,
bring food to us. We'll eat it on camera with you.
Let us know because, and if you ever see Scott walking around the parks, he might be wearing a shirt like this, just tap him on his shoulder and
say, I want to buy you stuff for a food review and I'll eat it.
Say that you've seen him. Hey, Scott, you're the food review guy. Let's, what can we do here? What can we test out? We'd love to do another food review with another guest.
And thanks again to King, who's always a great guy. I've known him for probably about 10 years now from Sorcerer Radio, which we've sponsored for the last 11 years. Really great guy. Again, I had a ton of fun with him. He's moving up here from Miami sometime in the next year or so. So we're looking forward to spending some more time with him. But again, happy birthday.
Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week.
And we'll promise to try to do better next time.
Thanks.